Can you hear me? That's weird. I can't hear you guys if you can hear me.
Hi, Liz.
Can you
Hey.
hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't hear the people at City Hall.
Ditto. Same.
Same? Okay.
Okay. Mm,
We
Hi, everybody.
hear you. Can you hear us?
Hello?
I'm trying to see if they can hear us, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think so. Say something, Corin.
He said they're not muted.
Okay. I have everything turned on.
So do I. Hold on. Corin's messaging us. Let's see what he says.
Hi, Emily.
Hey, Em.
Okay. Sure. Should I log out? Okay.
Well, if all of us can't hear, though, that seems like it's not a problem on our sides, right?
Right. I agree.
Okay. It says, can we log out and try to log back in? So let's do that.
Okay.
Hello? Nope. My mute is off. I'll turn-
Hi,
Hi.
can you hear us?
Now Emily looks like she's
Okay.
muted.
Did you change something?
Radio, can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Oh, there, we can
Okay.
hear her now.
Okay. Hopefully, does anybody have Emily Horton's,
I told her in the side chat to log out and come back in. So.
okay, good. There she
There
is.
she is.
Okay.
Can you hear us now, Emily?
Emily Horton?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, good.
Hello.
Great. Oh, good. I can hear you too.
Thank
Where's
you. Well,
Liz? Where's the
we,
other?
we're in the process of just approving
Okay,
the
we're-
minutes. So we got a motion to approve and a second. So we didn't do much. We do have a new member for the commission. She's not here yet tonight. She just found out the last couple of days she was gonna be on the commission with us, so she should be here soon. And we'll do a
Okay.
round of introductions at that time.
Cool.
So we'll just move on to visitor comments, and Scott Davis, Director of Parks and Recreation, is here. Give us some comments. Do we have to hold you to the 5-minute rule, Scott?
I have 5 minutes worth of comment.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to come and be available if you all had any questions regarding the upcoming bond issue, Proposition W. There'll obviously be a lot more information forthcoming on that over the next month or so as we put together more definition on those projects and plans. So I'll start with that. If anybody's got any questions, I would be happy to answer any. Seeing none, then the only other thing I had, I just wanted to sit in and be available to you all and hear what you're doing. We are refining the city is refining its boards and commissions policies and procedures. They've been doing that over the last 6 months or so with updated ordinance and stuff. So the new thing that we just implemented right before the end of the year was a public affairs work order process for work that we need help from Jenny or anybody else at a public affairs for. So they created a work order request form. It's only available on the intranet right now, so it's not available to the actual boards and commission members to fill out. So it would need to go through your liaison, Yvonne, and then she can get onto through our SharePoint and load in that form. Any kind of request for website updates, creating any flyers, any sort of marketing videos, anything like that that Jenny has been helping with. She's been inundated with city projects as well as boards and commission projects as well as everything else. And we just need a better way that she can track and arrange those work orders and processes. So it's something they just put in. We'll see how it works over the next month or two, and if they need to tweak it, they will. But so if you have any requests for anything that you need help with her, send it to Yvonne and she can then enter that workflow, and then Jenny will be able to see what's up and coming and be able to respond on how quickly she can get some of those things done.
Okay.
Sounds good.
That's all I got.
Okay.
Thanks for doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Scott, I have one question. Who else would be, is this pretty much just for Jenny? Is that sort of you mentioned that department, that
Eric
public?
does some of that work too.
Okay.
And sometimes it gets farmed out into IT a little bit, depending on what it is. If it's website updates and things like that, sometimes they help out, or
Okay.
the clerk's office, or even sometimes I've got a couple people on my staff that can help with website updates. But yeah, anything that's in the marketing world will need to go through this
Okay,
work order form.
okay. What about work with other departments?
So we don't have a work order form for that yet or anything, but normally that would go through your liaisons for your individual department, and then they would coordinate work with the other departments.
Okay. Okay.
So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Great. Jerry popped up.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry. Happy New Year.
Hey, got you down.
All right, so we'll go on to the next item of business, which is old business, and letter A is Green Our City updates. So Joe and I have been doing some subcommittee work. We met with Public Works in late November before Thanksgiving to try and get started on a good foot for our tree planting next fall. And we attempted to set up a subcommittee meeting for that, and we haven't been able to have that meeting with them. So that's still tentative, still to be scheduled. But Joe and I have been talking about a bit of a schedule for that, kind of laying that out. So it's we want to get that meeting scheduled as soon as we can, so that we can start getting volunteers as needed to be working on different tasks. So that's something to happen.
Hi.
Hi.
There, you're our new member, Jeannie Kleckner.
Jeannie, hi, nice to meet you. I'm Carrie Coyne.
Hi, Carrie.
Have a seat.
Sorry to be late, but I changed my schedule.
That's what I saw your email. Thank you. It's all right.
Thank you.
I think since we just started this item of old business, I'm just gonna table this for a second, and now that you're here, we can do some introductions. So everyone, we've got people that join us online. Sometimes we have visitors online. Let's see, do we have an attendee? Let me just check there. So maybe, Jeannie, you just found out you were on the commission, huh, within the last few days?
The interview was last Tuesday,
Wow,
and then I think I got the email the next day,
okay. Well,
maybe Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday.
and I know you got to give, at your interview, give the, council a little bit of inclination about why you wanted to be on the commission. Your background a little bit. I thought maybe you could do that and then we could
Sure.
just all introduce ourselves and let you know a little bit about us.
So my name is Jeannie Kleckner. What I explained to the board is that I am semi-retired. I've entered a semi-retired place and foresee volunteerism on the horizon and have gotten some requests about volunteerism, and it made me feel like I needed to be intentional and deliberate about my choices. And it made me think about what was most important to me. And I decided in terms of volunteerism, what was most important to me is climate. And in November, my husband and I got on board with the Group Buy solar panels. I didn't share all these details with the board because I was in email told to be very brief. So that got me to think about the Sustainability Commission. And I really appreciated their No Mow April and Leave the Leaves. I think that was sustainability. And I thought I could get behind that group. And so in December, I came up and got an application and applied to get on the Sustainability Committee. And then Katie let me know there were no openings, but there was in the green space, and directed me to apply there. And then the interview happened, and one other thing I shared with them, or a couple other things there. I am an avid gardener. I'm active in Wild Ones, the Native Plant Society. And in 2013, we applied for and received a grant from the Deer Creek Watershed Alliance to put a rain garden in our backyard because of water issues. So I've been maintaining a rain garden for 10 years.
Right, yeah, great, cool.
I've lived in Webster 23 years and was volunteerism, parents, support in the Webster school districts and Girl Scouts, stuff like that.
Great, well, welcome to Green Space. And I think you'll like working with this group because we work or have a subcommittee that works pretty closely with the Sustainability Commission. So you might want to be on that subcommittee and tie together a little bit. That's what Corin and I do that.
I wasn't
so.
trying to make it sound like the green space was the second choice.
Well, they're very compatible and we've done a lot of work with them. So, yeah. So let's start with the online introductions. Liz, do you want to introduce yourself to?
Hi,
Jeannie?
nice to meet you. I'm Liz James. I have also participated in the Deer Creek Watershed Alliance grant that you did. I did mine like 2 years ago. And I spend a good majority of my volunteer time working on Shady Creek, just kind of removing invasives, doing tree plantings. We just started water quality monitoring. And I native garden in my own yard. So green space just really appealed to me for those interests. And I thought I could do more here and definitely can. There are so many great initiatives in this group that I can be a part of now. So I've been doing this, like a year? I don't know even at this point.
Sounds about right.
So still kind of learning. I still feel like the newbie, but love all the stuff that we've been doing and that I can learn from this group. So good to see you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Emily Horton, do you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Emily Horton, as Carrie said. I'm a 13-year volunteer at the Missouri Botanical Gardens Herbarium. I'm also a member of the Native Plant Society. Nice to meet you, Jeannie. I'm sure I haven't seen you at a meeting that I haven't been to in a long time. And I'm Liz James's least active Stream Team volunteer. Because I am absolutely dedicated to the salvation of Shady Creek, although I let other people do the actual physical labor. And I was actually privileged to join the Green Space Advisory Council because I think it's one of the best efforts that Webster has going in terms of maintaining what we have and improving our general environment. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well, Emily.
Say again? Oh,
She said,
yes.
nice to meet you.
Yes,
Jerry,
that's why
Jerry.
I prefer to be there in person. Okay. Jerry,
Hey, sorry, my camera's not working. I'm Jerry Pinkner and I was on Parks and Recs for probably a decade and a half, probably before Scott. Hi, Scott. Haven't seen you.
Hey,
in
Jerry.
forever. And moved over to Green Space, I'd say, I don't know, about 3 years ago. And been mostly involved in Mayor's Monarch Pledge and doing gardens at City Hall and Ivory Crockett and over by the Concrete Garden near Straub's, but not Straub's. That's another project. And helping water the not really green space, but I guess overlaps with parks. We did the 500 trees in the front of Blackburn this spring, and I've been watering them pretty faithfully through the spring, summer, and most of them seem to have done real well. So
they have. I can
That's my-
testify. That's my park.
so that's my involvement, and glad to meet you.
So Jerry, we're actually neighbors.
Uh-huh.
You might know my husband and daughter's last name. It's different than mine. I'm Jeannie, John, and Hannah.
Oh, you're Jeannie. I got you.
Yeah.
Hi, Jeannie. Yeah.
Jerry.
I can't see well. I'm trying not to use my video because I'm not getting.
Yeah, I
good
wouldn't
Wi-Fi.
recognize you by the picture, but by your name.
All right. Thanks, Jerry. All right,
All right,
Joe.
Joe Oki, been on the Green Space now, what, almost 3 years?
Yeah.
2 years? I don't even know.
3.
Technically the co-chair, Gary's our head chair. Resident of Webster for going on 14 years now, certified arborist, love native plants and plantings. So do a lot of volunteer work with stream team cleanups and honeysuckle removal. And so just all around love being outside. So it's the perfect commission for me. So pass it to Corin.
All right. Hi, I'm Corin Purcell. I'm not sure what to say. I've been on here 3 years. I'm a Webster native. I garden a lot. I'm a weird native plant and food sovereignty radical. So, you know, I like to talk about that stuff. And I like to help all these projects.
And Corin's on the subcommittee to, with the Sustainability Commission.
Good to meet you.
I'm Yvonne Steingerby. I'm the park superintendent and the staff liaison for this commission.
Thank you for your emails.
Sure.
She keeps us moving and we really appreciate Yvonne and all the great work. I'm Carrie Coyne and I am the chair of the commission and I've been the chair for quite a while now. I have a background in landscape architecture and arboriculture, and I work at St. Louis Community College in the horticulture program there, so bring a lot of horticulture. For that, I worked in the planning world, so, and I actually worked with Scott and Yvonne's predecessor in the parks system, doing some parks planning. That was a long time ago, though. I think we've got a great group of commissioners here. We have a couple initiatives that we really have focused on for the past year or two. And we have a commissioner, and it's fitting that there's an empty chair there. We just lost the commissioner, Linda Green, about, I don't know, 6 months ago or so, and she was instrumental, as was this group, in the NOMO initiative and the Leave the Leaves initiative. So those were kind of born out of this this group, and those are two initiatives we kind of joined up with sustainability on. But we also have our Green Our City initiative, which is all about planting trees in the right of way of the city, in public rights of way, not parks. Huvan has a really good handle on planting trees in the park, so we want to do a big push. We've been doing that for the last couple of years. We also try to celebrate our urban forest through a couple of programs and initiatives that we have, the Trees of Distinction and Arbor Day celebration every year. We really embrace the urban canopy in Webster. We have an Eco Ed series. I don't know if you've been to any of those, but that's sort of something that was born out of this group, but we now partner with Sustainability Commission on educating the public about all things sustainable and ecologically focused things. So what am I missing? We've been working a little bit on stormwater, kind of trying to focus some of what we're doing with sustainability on stormwater, and kind of have pushed Public Works too. We're very excited to say that we did an update to their master plan recently. So we're excited to kind of watch that and keep interacting hopefully with them to try and just continually make improvements. And do what we can to help those issues as well, like doing your own stormwater rain garden. What else am I missing that we've done recently and that we're gonna keep moving
Eventually
on?
dark sky stuff.
Dark skies is kind of on our radar, right? And that's something I think that both sustainability and us as just with the change in committee members and the change of leadership on the Sustainability Commission, that's something we've kind of had to put to the side for now, but and we could come back to that eventually.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Do you live facing the golf course?
I do, but it doesn't happen to be a real issue. The lighting there, the street
No,
lighting.
Did you do a webinar during COVID about
yeah.
how you turned your yard into?
Yes, that was, yeah.
I used to live on Oak Street and walk
Okay.
past your house.
Oh, yeah.
Liz and I both live on Oak Street.
Yeah, where did you live?
477,
7-7, okay.
one house away from Parsons, the little street that just has one house on it. But that was 12 years
From
ago.
Poplar.
I've been Jerry's
Poplar.
neighbor now for 12 years.
Poplar too. Is that the Gates house?
Yeah, that is the Yates house. It was a white like farmhouse.
Yeah, and I think
Well,
Dwight,
Dwight,
who's
yeah.
the Webster Kirkwood Times person? Is that Dwight Bitcopper used to
That's
live
who we
in?
bought it from.
Yeah, that's David Freaky's house now.
It's great.
Oh, that's
It's
great.
really cool.
We love Oak Street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I loved living there.
Yeah.
I don't miss the 6x24 kitchen though. But it might not look like that anymore, but I thought I
We've done some
recognized you.
stuff.
from-
I don't think that's changed the kitchen footprint though.
Well, stormwater and trees are things that I'm very attached to.
I'm Laura Jordan. I've been here, I guess, about 4 years on the commission. I I'm a Webster resident of 25 years. And love native plants, love gardening, love trees. And I wanted to give back and I love being outdoors. So I applied for this commission position a few years ago. And it's been a great experience, and it's great people to work with.
I know you're just a visitor tonight, Scott, but
Yeah, Dave's from the Parks and Recreation Director. I've been here almost 10 years now.
it's just sitting in tonight.
Just sitting in, hanging out. So I work with Yvonne in the Parks Department, so.
So I'm Emily Shepherd. I'm on council. So I'm the council liaison to the commission, to this one and to historic preservation. So I'm here to bring tidings back and forth from council to the commission and.
So you were there Tuesday when, I thought you looked mildly familiar, but.
Yep, I was like, probably the closest one to you. Yeah, so welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
And last but not least, our secretary.
Yes, I'm
Very
Ginger
important role.
Garrett. I am the secretary. I take all the minutes. But I've been on the commission for about 10 years. I just re-upped. I love it. I mean, we started our adult lives in California. We lived there for 10 years. It was so crowded and concrete everywhere. When we moved back home, we've been back for 12 years now. It was really important to me to do native plants and trees and everything, and I'm really active in this and the high school stuff and Boy Scouts, and Girl Scouts, and I'm all over the place. So, but this is probably one of the best things in my life is the green space. We do such good work. So go team. Go team.
I'm glad to hear like out and about. And feeling.
I know. Oh man, I was so sick.
Oh,
Yeah.
that stinks.
Yeah.
It's good.
I'm better. I lived, I survived.
All right.
Well,
Well, I think I didn't skip anybody, did I? I don't think so. So, you've got my email and Yvonne, and you will soon, if you haven't already, did you already get a roster? No, yeah, no. So you'll get a roster with all our names and contact information on it, so. And we do meet, the first Monday of the month, 5 o'clock, right here. Or online, you can join us online and it's a public meeting, so these are always recorded. Occasionally, if there's a holiday, like last Monday, we just usually push the meeting out a week. Okay. Do you have any immediate questions for us? Okay. Then we'll get back to old business and Green Our City updates. So Green Our City is an initiative that we've been doing for 2 years now, where we plant trees in the public right of way. And I think the critical piece to that puzzle is getting volunteer residents to take care of those trees for the first 2 years. That basically of their establishment period, because that's really the most critical time for the new trees, and Public Works doesn't have a lot of time or resources to get out there and water those trees individually. So to have a resident who's committed to watering once a week makes this program a real success. So we're already planning for next year. Fall schedule, and as I mentioned, we've got Joe and I are on the subcommittee for that. We have a rough schedule and we're trying to do some coordination with Public Works. Last time I talked to you guys, I'd shown you a tree tag, a draft of a tree tag, and I put a proposal together. You can pass that around. That went to Dr. Peoples to request funding for the tags. We wondered if we could use the tree fund for that, or if we needed to use our own money, and she said we should use money from our budget. So we had to put a request together to acquire those funds. So now we're in the process of ordering, and Yvonne and I are doing that together. No, next time we meet, I'll show you the tree tags. I had an example of that, but I think I do.
They might be enough. Okay.
Actually, the third thing that's on, oh yeah, there it is. That's cute. The third thing that's on the agenda, which Joe and I are pretty excited about, is we submitted an application to Midwest, actually, to the national
Yeah.
ISA through the Midwest chapter of ISA, which is the International Society of Arboriculture.
Oh.
We submitted an application to receive the
Gold leaf.
Gold Leaf Award for the Green Our City initiative. And we found out a couple of weeks ago that we got that award, so that's a pretty big deal for the initiative. And we've
Alright.
Joe and I are gonna go, it's part of, they celebrate and give the awards at the regional conference, which is held at the end of January. And that's something as arborists, Joe and I might normally go to, and I don't know if you're going to that, but So Joe's going to that and I have arranged to get some luncheon tickets for Emily and I to go to be there as well. 26?
26.
For,
Last Thursday.
Last Thursday.
I thought it was Friday.
This Thursday.
Okay, we'll tell ya.
It's the 25th.
So we're gonna go and get that award and we'll bring it back to you guys so you can see it if there's something physical.
Yeah, Thursdays are a little harder for me than Friday, so we'll see.
Okay, well, we have the extra tickets, so we might need to bring someone if you can't make it, but we'd love for you to come and celebrate with us.
Love to be there.
Okay. So that is it on being our city updates. Unless anybody has any questions. Joe, am I missing anything?
I don't think so.
As soon as we meet with Public Works and nail down a schedule, we'll bring that back to you guys. Okay, the next item of old business is Trees of Distinction, which is an award we give out every year at Arbor Day. We give out 2 awards at Arbor Day, a Trees of Distinction Award and a Tree Steward Award. And the Tree of Distinction is actually, there are applications taken throughout the city. Anyone can apply to award a Tree of Distinction. And right now, Joe is sort of heading up that initiative. So do you have any updates on that? I think we had
No, I need to send, I guess,
application.
Yvonne the photo of the tree and then she can send it out. I don't know how would I email all the photos for the commission members to look at to
You can
get?
send them to me.
So you visited
Just that sugar maple.
one tree,
Yeah.
okay, sugar maple, so that's. And you said it was a pretty nice tree.
Oh, yeah. Ginger,
Beautiful.
yeah.
During the fall and.
Okay, so that's probably gonna get the Tree of Distinction Award. And then you had suggested, which I thought was a great suggestion, Tessa for the steward,
I think Tesla already was.
Was that last year?
I think it was last year. I
Last
feel
year
like
was
Tessa.
Victor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get a
Vince.
year
was
before.
Victor.
Vince.
Sorry.
Last year was Vince.
Vince,
Who got it the year before though?
I think, was Tessa before that? I
feel
feel
like
like
she
given it to
might
her,
have.
gave
I
her
think
something.
I
Yeah.
think she's had it. We were talking about Linda Green doing it.
posthumously,
That's an idea.
should we take a vote on that? So we can just set that in action too. I won't speak for everybody who will vote, but I think that's a really good, that is what I remember. Okay, so I would, as well as the Trees of Distinction, maybe that's new business for next time, but I'd like to make a motion to name our tree steward posthumously Linda Green.
I would second that motion.
Okay, should we take a vote on it? I'd like to then vote so we can write that in the book. All in favor?
I.
That's okay. It's unanimous.
We'll have to think about how we wanna honor her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe with the tree planting or plaque or something.
Okay. Any other questions about the Trees of Distinction initiative?
I have a question about trees in general. There's an Osage orange tree behind Nearing's Hall that is the last of an old alley of Osage orange trees that were taken down, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 years ago. And to me, I don't know anything about trees. It looks really old. So it was may have been connected to the Lockwood estate. Is there any category for historic trees or, I don't really know.
That's a public tree, but you could do a public tree.
Yeah, oh yes, in fact, it actually is threatened because the sidewalk has come right up to it and it's kind of a shortcut, I guess, for kids to get up into the campus. So the ground around it is really worn away. And it has a a new shoot that's probably, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years old. So it's definitely.
Is it
I
on
mean,
public property or private property? Do you know?
Public. It's
Public
in the
property.
public, yeah. It's in the
Well,
little.
if
Well-
if you could send, like maybe make the nomination through the nomination form. Then Yvonne will get all the information and then Joe
Okay.
can take a look at it and we could see if
Okay.
it's worth considering. The Tree of
Well,
Distinction Award
Well-
can be an old tree, it can, there's no real, like, it's just a
Okay.
distinct tree. So if we found an old tree because it was old, we wanted to honor it, that would be fine.
Well, I mean, it's not just his age, it's potential connection, because there was a whole row of them long before Webster University did all the, improvements. And when they started to take down stuff for their garage, there was a log cabin back there on the same property, but Garden Avenue cuts through it. So that tree has, depending on how old it is, it might be nothing, it might be just a weed tree, but potentially, so I'll do some research about the property and, see if it might have some historic place in
Yeah.
the tree population of Webster.
And that, I mean, I can think of at least one other historic tree that has a marker on it as like the oak. So that might be considered
that's
for,
right, yeah.
for some
okay.
other kind of
Okay, well,
recognition as well. So just send that, Emily, to
Okay. I'll try and find out more about the
that would be
site.
great.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you. One thing sort of related to trees of distinction and Linda, and Arbor Day. Is it too early to pick an Arbor Day date?
No, it really is not.
Can we all look at our calendars to think about Arbor Day?
Good idea.
Pick a date.
It's not a set date, but for some reason I thought it
Well,
was.
Arbor Day is a set date. You are correct. There's a Missouri Arbor Day and a National Arbor Day that are always the same days every year, but our Arbor Day celebration does not necessarily fall on those days. And we usually have a celebration in one of the city parks, and the mayor reads a proclamation and we give the awards out, and we talk about how important trees are to the community and to, people in general. So it's a day of celebration for that. And usually also Yvonne has a big work day where a lot of trees are planted in one of the parks as well.
It's gonna be hard to top that.
I know.
Missouri celebrates Arbor Day on the first Friday in April, and National Arbor Day is the last Friday in
Yes.
April.
26, right? Yeah.
So, let me go to April. I'm asking because I'm already filling out my calendar in April. Usually we do it around the middle of the month. And does it matter what day we do it?
It's usually Tuesday or Wednesday.
That sounds right.
And it's usually,
Scout wise, I think Wednesdays would probably be better.
Okay.
Black ceremony.
and we usually do it at around 5 o'clock, so people can get there after work, right? 5 or something.
Okay, do we want to maybe look at April 17th?
I vote for
When
April
is the
17th.
eclipse?
The 8th and 8th.
8th.
That's the 9th. April 9th is the eclipse, I think.
Monday the 8th.
So I think the 17th is a safe date. So we usually, as many of us as we can, try and show up to support, and there's a little bit of. Yvonne's crew usually does a majority of the setup, but they can always use volunteers, but then there's a planting event. For those who can attend the planting ahead of time, and then we usually talk a little bit about other activities at that meeting too, so it's great.
What about Southwest Park, since there's a little pavilion there? Which we decided last year to always have it at a pavilion park.
Yes,
Because there's
Because of the
rain. I feel like rain has been like.
Or we could do
plaguing us.
Larson.
Southwest.
okay. So that's gonna be April 17th.
Southwest Park.
More details to come, yeah.
Okay, like typically start at 5, is that what you're saying?
Right,
Mhm.
yeah.
Celebration at 5 and then planting probably around 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Do you want me to see if I can get that Boy Scout group families to volunteer, or are we good on volunteers?
I think we're good. Oh, you mean for planting?
Yeah, we'll probably need to go for some kind of a record. for
Okay.
that park.
Kids aren't really out of school though until like the Hickson High School kid, like it's like 3:30 is when they get out. So
Okay,
that's
well,
when
they
get
could, I
into
mean,
the-
they can.
join the.
I'm sorry, I thought we said we were like more like 5.
No, but it's 5 for the ceremony,
Oh,
which is
okay.
at the pavilion, and Ginger's got a crew of Boy Scouts that help with that ceremony. Flag, I don't know what you call them.
Flag ceremony, yes.
Flag ceremony. But anybody can volunteer for the tree planting that day.
During the day. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, just
and that's
like-
usually,
Is that
it's usually around 2 or 3.
Okay. Those folks that came to our tree planting earlier this fall are still trying to earn their
Oh,
tree
cool.
steward badges. So if we need any extra helpers for other stuff, let me know.
Right.
Okay, then, thanks for setting that up, guys. The next item of old business is the Eco Ed series, and, Corin, would you mind just giving a brief update?
Sure. So Carrie and I met with Carla Armbruster and Karen Anderson from Sustainability. And we talked about whether we wanted to carry on the Eco Ed series, and if so, to what extent? Do we want to go as hard as we did this year? Because we did a lot of talks this year. And there was some concern about lack of time. But we decided, yes, let's go for it. Maybe we won't do quite as many talks. So Carrie and I and both of them each proposed speakers we thought would be good. And now we have a list and a plan and even a rough schedule. We're still at early stages for setting up speakers and, establishing times, but we're going back to the library. Our attempts to use Webster University's facilities were not as well attended, so we thought going back to the library might be a better choice. So we're working on, actually Karen Anderson is working on pushing this forward and establishing things at the library, and we will support her and establish a new speaker series this year.
Yeah, I was really glad that Karen
Yeah.
got on to sustainability and came to the subcommittee meeting, because she's basically, I think, gonna be the champion on the Eco Ed
Yeah.
series and kind of push.
She
Push
said
that through.
Eco Ed was what hooked her
Oh,
in,
good.
I think, if I remember what she said, and so that it made her want to support it and participate. So good job, Karen Anderson, and we
Yes.
will back her up.
Right,
Yeah.
very good. Okay, thanks, Corin. Next item of old business is the Tree City USA Growth Award.
So as far as I know, it's pending. I don't think you can be awarded it until you get your Tree City USA
Okay,
standing. And so when that's been submitted, I'll try to check on it this week and just see where it is, but I haven't heard back yet. I'm sure we're pretty definitely split more than the per capita allowance, so I'll try to push through the other two.
so we'll know on that eventually. Okay. The last thing I have on here is Leave the Leaves t-shirt money.
Yeah,
It's okay. Then I don't know, I know Yvonne got a t-shirt,
I'm gonna
she
drop that
still
money by.
owes Ginger money. I
Yes,
don't know if
I'll-
anybody else,
I'll
get
get
your
her the
money to
money.
Ginger.
I
It's okay.
didn't want to
Yeah.
come into that tiny room this evening because I'm probably still toxic, but yeah, I'll get her the money.
Okay, I'm now worried about it. I need to circle back. Remember how you asked last meeting for somebody to like try to figure out a video for tree planting? I reached out to my Boy Scouts, but we are trying to figure out our rechartering right now. Like our rechartering organization was Edgar Road School, and that's not like, so we're like trying to figure that stuff out. But they do know that we want to do that
Okay.
with the tree thing. So it's just rechartering has to be figured out first. So
Okay.
I just wanted to follow up.
Great, thank you. I appreciate that, Ginger. I actually, well, that's old business. Actually, Scott, since you're here, can I ask you about an item that's not on here about old business? And that is the, speaking of growth awards and Tree City USA, the, application for the grant through MDC, it's a cost share grant that in front of
French Drive?
jobs. Do you know the status of that grant?
Off the top of my head.
Okay, cause I had talked to Mark Gruber, who is the MDC, our arborist. That's not his name. I mean, that's not his title, community forester. And he said he had a couple questions about the application, related to budget, I think. And he hadn't heard back, so,
I will follow up.
yeah, and just let me know if there's anything we need to do. Cause that would be a pretty cool project. Okay,
I don't think there's anything you need to do, so at this time, but I will check with Mark. There's information you still need.
okay. And I don't know if, do you know, do you know the status of their cost share monies? Are they still? I mean,
As
I know
far
it's
as like
like
tier 3, I don't know about that. I know
Okay.
tier 1, we've used a lot of their tier 1
Yeah.
money, so.
yeah, there's not as much tier 3 money.
Yeah.
So they divide their cost share into 3 different funding categories and. Joe works at Beyond Housing, which is in north side, like North County.
Yeah.
And that is one of the areas that gets more funding. An area like Webster doesn't get as much funding. Which makes sense. So I'd be very interested to know the status of that guy. All right, and that's,
You guys hear the rain? Is it the rain?
I don't know. I did hear that. Might be the air.
Yeah, I'm just imagining things.
So the heat from the outside.
Probably just imagining, sorry. Sorry.
That's okay, I didn't.
This is light rain.
Like Brent.
All right, well, I think we can move on to council liaison update.
Yes, I've got a few things. So we've got the April election coming up. And there was a recap of that or a preview of that in the Friday page, which is, I'm not surprised that's good. Yeah. So there are 3 seats up for election and we have 3 candidates. So there will be an election, but probably won't see a whole lot of campaigning, I'm guessing. Emerson Smith and Karen Alexander are both going up for re-election. And then Jamie Hassmeyer is going up for the seat, basically Sarah Richardson's seat. Sarah's decided not to run again. And so some of you might know Jamie, she was the former chair of the Sustainability Commission, so she'll do great. I can say that. Election year, yeah.
As long as she gets 1 vote, I think she'll do great.
Yeah.
She'll probably vote for herself.
Yeah.
She should be.
That's the council person part of the ballot. We've got Prop W that Scott mentioned, that'll be on there too, some more education coming out about that. Of course, like the big kind of focus of that is the aquatic center, but they'll, it's a whole Parks and Rec kind of theme. So hoping to do some cool other things with that as well. It's really exciting. Without increasing the taxes that we're already paying, because some of our bond issues are being paid off, which is great. Up, and then we've got a bunch of charter advice or city charter amendments that are up there. Most of this group, I think there are 10 of them. Most of this group is like cleaning up language, making sure that we're compliant with state law. Like, there's not really anything in it that I think is like questionable or, you know, controversial or that people have a lot of questions about, but you know, happy to talk through any questions that you might have about those. So that's going to be on there. So I think that's the election. There will be MSD on the ballot too. That's not a city thing, but MSD has, I think, 2 things that will be on the ballot as well, which one of those has to do with, well, I don't know if it's only that, but one of those I think they talked about using for possible buyouts in the future. So that's, you know,
They
pertinent to us.
possible buyouts.
For MSD, so I think they don't really have a great, as I understand it, like a great fund right now to buy out flooded properties or properties that are susceptible to flooding. So they have two issues on the ballot, and I believe that one of those is to kind of give them a bank so that they could buy out properties that that would be appropriate to buy out.
And what, do you know what they do with them?
I'm assuming that they return it to green space.
That'd be cool.
It's mixed, right? So then speaking of stormwater, the stormwater master plan is ongoing, and Dr. Peoples had an update in her update to council at the end of last week. So residents were requested to complete stormwater questionnaire as part of the planning process. There was a total of 406, or a total of 406 responses received. The consultants are compiling all of the data for GIS mapping in the final report, and we'll have a better idea of the timeline in the next couple of weeks. So that
And
is,
will they have recommendations in that report?
I'm sure, yeah, this is just like the next
Okay,
step.
okay.
No, not the. So yeah, so that was stormwater, and then in our last council meeting last week, we talked about, actually it was in the work session, I guess. We talked about some of the funding buckets that we have as a city, and we've got the stormwater funding, we've got, you know, street fund, like different buckets that we have that aren't the general fund, and how those could be used to do some big projects. Two of the projects on the list are the culvert at Elm and the culvert at Kirkham, which I know are of interest to this commission as well. So just want to let you know that those are like still in the pipeline, so to speak. We have a grant already for the Elm and Kirkham one that is farther along. And the Kirkham and Gore culvert is not eligible for the same grant funding as the Elm one. I think it's a smaller size. So that one will probably be funded a different way, probably by the city stormwater fund. But of course, if we can get grants for it, we would prefer that. But that is also moving along. It's just like, you know, really a couple of years behind the Elm one as they through these things. The schedules for these are always way far out. It's a pretty big undertaking, but that is still happening. And
Question?
then, yeah,
Question.
yeah.
Emily?
Jay.
What did you say about the culvert at Brentwood? Or Kirkwood? Yeah.
There's the culvert at Kirkham and Gore, and the culvert at Kirkham and Elm.
Okay, but nothing, I mean, nothing over at Marshall. I'm sorry, nothing at Marshall.
No, not on
Okay.
not on the list that we were working from.
Oh, I misheard. Thank you.
Yeah. And then the comprehensive plan went out for the RFA for that went out, so that will happen. I guess that's also kind of in early stages to figure that out. I don't know if Scott, if you've heard anything about that. That will really like touch every part of every, you know, department and commission in the city. So that is still early stages, but will be really exciting. I know we've talked about in historic preservation that, you know, we want to make sure that we're thinking about historic preservation as kind of a layer in that. And here we've talked about, we want to think about stormwater as a part of that. So there are like all these different layers to that we want to bring in, and I'm sure there'll be loads of commission and public engagement in that as that moves on. So those were my updates.
Thank you.
Okay. We might want to think about what you were looking to have in your budget.
Okay,
So,
when is the ask?
well, it'll be coming up pretty soon.
Okay,
Probably by next meeting, we'll need to know how much money, so I guess start thinking about projects.
Yeah, I'll have to have everything submitted to City Hall by end of February, so I'll need it by your February meeting, whatever request that you guys will want to see included in there.
is that the same process as last year?
Pretty much.
No new forms or anything other.
Not as of today, but we are revamping some of our, I don't think this will be new forms.
Tricks.
For this, but we are revamping some other budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So,
can you make sure that's in there, Ginger, we need to bring our budget.
okay, yeah, so that's what we're working on now, staff's working on. Converting some green spaces that we've been mowing into more sustainable grasses like blue grama or trying buffalo grass or possibly a grass called Scottish lynx. To try to reduce some of our mowing. So we'll be working on that this winter. And then we did have a request to put together a honeysuckle sweep sometime in March, so there's some details on that. I'd like to make it a really big event, but all possible. He wants to do Shady Creek, but I think we'll pick somewhere else because Shady Creek's gonna be part of that DNR grant cleanup. So stay tuned for that.
Who's the requester?
John, he's with the say Autobot, but that's not it. He's helped out people. But I'll send some details out and see what weekends look good for people. And then Scott and I did meet with MSD about a sewer line that's going in along Kirkham, across Kirkham, through Lorraine Davis Park and down that street, and there will be some repairs done to the creek. So I know how much this group has worked on that, and we are definitely consulting with them on what's to be protected and to minimize the impact, but you'll definitely see some activity in the creek at Lorraine Davis this year. The beginning of next year.
The beginning of next year's when it starts. I think they're just in planning stages.
They're drilling cores right now to see where they can bore or where they have to open.
The part of Project Clear?
I imagine something that
It is tied into that. They're replacing main lines all the way from the sculpture garden down through the MoDOT, or not MoDOT, the metro station there. So pulling out what's got, putting in all new larger ones. So
And most of it in the street.
most
that
of
you
it's in
saw.
the street. Once you get through the first section of Lorraine Davis Park, the rest of it's in the street. So I gotta figure out a way to get underneath Kirkham, underneath Brentwood Material Supply there, and then pop out in Lorraine Davis somewhere for that, and then it'll be open trench cut from there, which even that starts out in the street. But they will be doing some creek bed restoration behind the gas station right there. They're starting to lose the eastern side of that creek bed, and it's gonna start taking out their parking lot. So they're gonna be shoring up that quite a bit and refreshing some of the other parts of the creek all the way down underneath the pedestrian bridge. So quite a bit of work in there.
that's all I have.
Yvonne, will you keep me posted on your sweep date? Because I'm gonna plan
Yes.
March for Stream Team and I just don't want to create conflict for volunteers or whatever.
Okay, sure.
And I'm really not set on any particular date, so
Okay.
I wanted to start kind of organizing in the next couple weeks here.
We know if the creek restoration just being discussed is going to be just more concrete walls. Probably.
No,
No.
we specifically, they were talking about putting riprap, and I questioned whether or not they could put in something that would honor the look of the creek, and so they were going to probably propose, as long as a contractor can source it, they're gonna propose putting in sort of a mixed aggregate to make it look a little bit more natural, use like Missouri limestone. But there will be parts of behind that gas station that will be an actual wall that they're gonna build, but they are gonna soften it. And then on the opposite side, on the park side, they're gonna make the transition less steep. And at the bottom, there's going to be some riprap, but we also talked about doing willow stakes and to do something that is gonna be more of a green infrastructure instead of just a typical MSD rocket type of thing, so.
Yeah, our site only sees 20 linear feet or so of riprap. Right at the culvert at the beginning of the park there. And then because our side's already benched really well. And they actually want to keep that bench in there and actually hopefully extend that bench even. But the eastern side is much steeper. There's not as much room there, so they're gonna have to armor it up more with some sort of riprap type of rock in there, but where they can, we're asking for them to try to green it up as possible.
That's good.
Fortunately, their access point, the trees that are there is a big colony of tree of heaven.
Oh,
So kind of doing us slight favor to get rid of those.
that's
So
good at least.
it's not all.
I had heard from, I think from Stacy Arnold, that Missouri DNR had hoped to get Deer Creek into being a high quality and navigable waterway by 2024, which is this year. And
Got a long ways to
yeah, right, we've not hit that target. They've not hit that target. So I was, thinking about that while this was coming up, whether that's going to be a setback or an improvement in seeking that goal or pursuing that goal. I can't tell right now. I guess we'll find out.
Hey, Joe. I remember when you joined, you said you're gonna kayak Deer Creek with me.
All right, I already done that with Yvonne, in
You did?
2017. It was
You did?
terrible.
It takes 6 hours to get Lorraine Davis to make it.
Never again.
You're supposed to invite me.
Well, we can make it happen.
We'll do it next time in half the time.
All right.
Pick their own day.
Yeah, right.
That's in there right there.
Yeah, right. All right, well, that is the last item on our agenda. Our next meeting is February 5th. Same place, same time. So would anyone like to make a motion to end our?
I will motion. To adjourn.
Motioning to adjourn. Someone seconded?
Second.
Liz. And the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Hi, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Can I ask about the t-shirt? Oh, yeah, so I placed an order with the management. But and so it's on file. If you wanted to go and order one, you would just go in and see Tim or I have people or go in there to the mash pit. Zoe's Attic on in Old Webster. No, I are you familiar? Yeah, I don't. It's like kind of like across from Story 7, like just down from Chase. Right?
Turn back to total.
Right there before.
Pretty awesome.
I have.
Well,
It's
so
gonna take a
you
long
just go to the store and just say, Ginger Garrett, green space, told me about the shirt, I want to order one too, but I did a long sleeve. Well, I mean, you could do it on whatever shirt you want, but I did it long sleeve green.
If you want, I'm asking you now, I'm going,
We can still.
I'm going to green space
So-
and no space. And I'm
And,
not wearing all hats.
Yeah, I can probably back you up and just make sure.
Yeah, I just let you know now. All right.
That- I mean, that's-
Yeah.
I mean, like, that will be, I don't think you can do it online, since it's a festival.
Go ahead and
But,
turn to that.
They literally just did it, it should be fresh in their minds, and I'm pretty sure their printer is
Seventh.
working
Yeah.
to get in the store, like, it was down for like 6 months.
Calendar.
So,
I'm going, weather permitting, obviously.
but yes,
Uh,
sure.
No worries.
I think you
Okay,
asked
this here,
for-
same place. Okay.